What is North Korea trying to achieve by this provocation?
Well, they gain multiple things when they launch missiles like this. It's obviously to test the reliability of their missiles. So now they've proven that in 2 weeks' time, they've been able to launch 2 intermediate range missiles around 2,300 miles, 3,700 kilometers in the same trajectory. So they flew it over Hokkaido, Japan's northern island, put it down in the Pacific Ocean. And if they were to point this missile in a southerly direction, they could have potentially brought that missile down very close to the U.S. territory of Guam, something that North Korea started threatening more than a month ago, but has yet to actually follow through. So they send that propaganda message, but they do so in a way that doesn't directly threaten U.S. military assets or force the U.S. government or the Japanese government, frankly, to try to shoot this missile down. So they don't necessarily escalate the situation any further than it already is, but they still send that defiant message to the U.S. and its allies that despite this new round of sanctions, they are absolutely refusing to back down and promising, in fact, to double down on their development of weapons of mass destruction.
Well, you've reported before and you've said that each time they launch missiles, they get closer to their end goal. What do you think Kim Jong-un's ultimate goal is?
He wants to have in his arsenal a nuclear weapon that is so reliable and so powerful that the United States will abandon its long-standing strategy of trying to force North Korea to denuclearize based on economic and political pressure and military intimidation. North Korea is determined they do hope to have discussions with the international community, but they don't want to do so from a position of weakness. They want to do so from a position of strength, and they have it written into their constitution that they will be a nuclear power. They want the United States and the world to acknowledge them as such, and they want the end to what they consider a hostile policy against their country. And, of course, the sanctions would be one aspect of that. From the North Korean viewpoint, they think they're justified in building these weapons because they look at the United States and its allies around the world as bullies, even while the world looks at what North Korea is doing as a flagrant and dangerous violation of international law and would ask, why would North Korea be rewarded with legitimacy that they seek by continuing to violate international law and frankly, to frighten people in the region who have to deal with these missiles flying over their homes in some cases.
Well, after your multiple visits to North Korea and reporting inside this rogue nation, do you believe in your heart of hearts they want to destroy an international metropolitan city, or is this all about ego?
I don't think they want to destroy a city, and I'm not sure that it's all about ego either. I think the North Korean objective here is that they seek security that their system will stay in power, meaning the regime led by Kim Jong-un and before that his father Kim Jong-il and before that his grandfather Kim Il-sung. I believe that Kim Jong-un, when he took power, he made the decision that in order for North Korea to get what it eventually wants, which is better economic conditions for their people, that they're not going to get that and have that regime stay in power without having in their possession a viable nuclear weapon that could hit the United States, that could threaten the United States, therefore making it nearly impossible strategically for the U.S. to launch a preemptive strike on their country. They look at Iraq, they look at Libya, and they refuse to see that repeated in their country. But make no mistake that the number one goal is to keep the regime in power, even if that means economic hardship for people who are suffering because of sanctions and other measures that are taken against the country.
CNN is now reporting that South Korea has called for a Security Council meeting, but at the end of the day, Will, what can that actually achieve? Because presumably we'll be saying the same thing in a week's time. No doubt another missile will be launched.
Exactly, and we knew it was only a matter of time before another missile would be launched. The Security Council's options are limited. They did pass this latest sanctions resolution, and you even heard mixed messaging from the United States on this. You heard the U.S. ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, talking about how these are the strongest sanctions ever imposed against a country, that they're going to cut their oil supply by up to almost a third, that they're going to add textiles to the list of other exports that North Korea can no longer sell and make money from, so now they can't sell textiles or coal or iron or lead or seafood, and yet somehow North Korea continues to bring in significant revenue through the black market, through smuggling channels. We know that there's weapons proliferation going on. Their economy grew by almost 4% last year, despite round after round of increasingly heavy sanctions. That's according to South Korean central bank estimates. And so the Security Council meets. They strongly condemn North Korea's actions. Maybe they try to push for yet another round of sanctions. But at this point, Russia and China have given zero indication that they are willing to impose the kind of sanctions on North Korea that the United States wants. The U.S. wants an oil embargo. China and Russia won't stand for that because they think it would be destabilizing. The U.S. wants Kim Jong-un's name blacklisted. They want to freeze his assets. They want a travel ban for Kim Jong-un. Russia and China wouldn't go for that because for the North Koreans, that'd be like an act of war. And the national carrier, Air Koryo, is still flying. The U.S. wanted to ground it. China and Russia feel that by North Korean diplomats being able to fly on Air Koryo, it somehow keeps the line of communication open. And that's what China and Russia want, is communication and discussions. They also want the United States to freeze its annual military drills, which the U.S. has said is a ridiculous proposition because the military drills are legal under international law. The missile launches and nuclear tests are illegal. And frankly, with the escalating situation, the U.S. also feels that they have to keep training for any eventual possibility in regards to North Korea.